All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome to the Sunday Scan. This is going to be for August, the week of August 7th, guys. Welcome back. Hopefully, you guys had a fantastic weekend. Couldn't be more stoked to be back on the stream and getting ready for the week ahead, guys. We had an absolutely insane week last week, guys. Definitely one of the crazier weeks of my career. I feel like I've been saying that more and more this year, but honestly, every single week like that is just a one-up because there's just the more preparation, the more that goes into it. These weeks just they don't cease to amaze me, right? That's kind of like the gist of it. So it's honestly just, been an absolutely fantastic market to take advantage of the last, really, 5 weeks in my opinion. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with how the trading aspect has been going. But again, hopefully you guys had a fantastic weekend, got some time to relax, reset. And here we are back on the Sunday Scan, the first Sunday Scan of August. I know that's insane, guys. I feel like we just started July a week ago, but, time moves fast. So first off, I do want to welcome everybody that's new, guys. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, this is the Sunday Market Scan. This is going to be where I go over all of my, focus setups, watch list, and key things I'm going to be watching into the week ahead. We're going to cover my watch list for tomorrow, Monday, and we're going to kind of go over my outlook for the week that we have ahead of us and kind of talk about the overall market, any swings or any current positions I'm holding, my plan for that, and then, kind of really just moving forward from there. So first off, welcome to everybody that's new. I know there are a ton of new people. I do want to mention, guys, these were one of the biggest tools for me in becoming a more prepared and profitable trader. I had a form of a Sunday Scan that I did every single week, guys. Used to sit down in my old, studio apartment, sit down and grind out on charts for probably 2 to 3 hours. I learned how to condense that and make it more efficient. And now I host basically my own Sunday Scan for you guys every week. And then you guys can go over it and kind of, take what you do out of it, those focus setups, the mentality. And, like I said, guys, I can't underestimate how important sitting down every Sunday was and doing a Sunday Scan. So even if you don't copy my Sunday Scan or use my exact scan, do a scan of your own every single Sunday, guys. It's just a big old hack, honestly, when it comes to trading. So welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, first thing I want to mention, book winners. Don't forget, if you're new, you probably don't know about this yet, but every single week, guys, you can go ahead and leave a comment. So if you took something beneficial away from the stream, guys, go ahead and drop a comment on the YouTube stream right here. Let me know what helped you, what you enjoyed, what you took out of it, what I can do better. And what I'm going to do is every single month, at the end of the month, I will send out 4 books. One winner each week. All you have to do is leave a comment, and I'm going to pick a winner every single week, and I'll do that at the beginning of the next month. So September 1st, I'll go ahead and pick the book winners. I'll announce that on the first Sunday Scan, and then you can go ahead and get your free book. I'll ship it out to you myself. And again, these are going to be books that helped me throughout my journey and my process. They are not honestly specifically trading related. Thinking Fast and Slow, big psychological book for me. You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I'm finishing that one up right now, actually. So really just more mentality, psychological perspective books. Atomic Habits is one I'm going to give away soon. But again, all you have to do is leave a comment, something you took away from the stream, and I'll go ahead and ship a book out to you at the end of the month. So don't forget. All right, guys, we got the kind of housekeeping orders out of the way. So let's go ahead and get into the charts themselves, guys. First off, if you're wondering, I'm using Webull Desktop. This is my preferred broker and, mainly where I do my Sunday scans as far as charting goes. This is going to be where I'm going to go over my levels, kind of cover everything that is going to involve my preparation for the week ahead. All right, guys, just wanted to make sure the sound was working well. So All right, guys, like I said, let's go ahead and get into the charts just to give you kind of like a basic formatting of how this goes. I know there's going to be a ton of new people watching this. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and talk about crypto because that's how I start every Sunday scan. I just cover my thoughts on Bitcoin quickly because some people in here do, are kind of, in here for some Bitcoin analysis and things like that from a technical perspective. Then we'll cover the overall market quickly. For me, guys, and I've mentioned this a ton, but the majority of the opportunities have been in the individual names as of late. Obviously, Coinbase, life-changing trade last week for a lot of people in the room I know. And honestly, just a life-changing past 3 weeks on that stock. It's been a fantastic trader, offers an absolutely insane amount of range and opportunity. And again, guys, I would rather be trading those names outside of SPY, QQQ, etc. right now, just based upon the range, the daily volume, and the overall opportunity. I feel like so many people get caught up in, I'm only going to trade SPY, QQQ, right, whatever. Well, the daily volume is subpar, right? It's not like they haven't had good moves, and it's not like you can't capitalize, but I think so many people get into that 0-day, like, toxic mindset. For me, I really like taking advantage of these individual name opportunities. It's where I excel, and so I just know my strengths, right? And maybe your strengths are different. Every single person has a different brain, a different set of, skill set, and a different set of, kind of receptors that are going to work well on certain things. And for me, this is where I excel. This is where I do really my best work. And so that's where I like to stay. But I do want to go ahead and cover those things for you. If you are interested in SPY QQQ analysis more specifically, don't forget there's the G3 alerts channel. Grayson will go ahead and cover a lot of stuff related to SPX SPY. He primarily trades SPY, SPX contracts. So if you're looking for specific kind of, those types of analysis every morning, make sure you check out G3's channel. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the scan itself. I do want to go ahead and talk about Bitcoin quickly. Really, guys, I think, and I've talked about this a bunch, but I'm not going to spend too much time here. I really think we're in a consolidation zone for Bitcoin for the foreseeable, next 4 to 6 weeks personally, right? It's kind of that, it's a risk asset. It's bounced, 25, 30% off of lows at this point, guys. And really, I think we're going to have, obviously, you're seeing psychological resistance come into play here at this 25K level, guys, right? But really, we held kind of that like prior cycle high area in the 19 to 18K area. Those dips seem to get, somewhat soaked. In order to see a bigger move up to this 29, 30K level, we're going to need to see a move through this 25K resistance, which is obviously going to be a psychological resistance. You're going to see psychological resistance at key levels like that, 25K, 50K, 75K, right? Increments of 25, sometimes even increments of 5, 10, et cetera, right? That's just psychological resistance. And obviously we have this wick down here to 25. But again, I really think that we need to clear that 25K level in order to see a move back towards 30, et cetera, and that ramp towards highs, right? So, and highs, I'm talking about, this kind of range here between 30K, 36K, and, into the 25, 22K kind of basing area we've been dealing with, right? 23K to 22K basing area. So again, guys, that's pretty much, my quick thoughts. Coinbase earnings are this week, and that may have an impact on BTC, but it's really not as much. I think, you're really just going to need to see the next big catalyst I see for BTC is going to be in about 6 to 8 weeks when we get that Ethereum 2.0 launch. We'll see if that's a sell the news event, but I do expect crypto to ramp up into that. So it's definitely something I am going to be watching for, obviously from an opportunity perspective, possibly taking some, deep calls for September, October, to kind of take advantage of that run up. But we'll see. No firm trade plan there for me yet. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into a position that I took over the weekend because that's the second thing I'm going to do after I talk about SPY quickly. Again, guys, we're coming into obviously an area of supply at this 417. This is a major pivot level for the S&P, guys. In order to see major continuation on the indices, we're going to need SPY to clear this 417 level, right? And that probably opens us up into 435, 440. Like I said, guys, there's a lot of resistance in this area on the S&P, which you can see. We're looking at the weekly chart here, and you can see we had a lot of support, right? A lot of these big wicks down into the, 420, 417, 416, 415, right? So we're kind of just sitting in this zone of supply. We do have a pretty healthy weekly candle here, guys, and we've printed 3 straight weekly candles, which we have not done in a very, very long time, right? The last time we printed 3 green weekly candles, you have to go back to March. So this has been a substantial relief rally. You've seen, and I talked about this a ton on my Twitter, and I'm not going to take time here victory lapping because that's not my style. But I talked about this. You have a ton of retail shorts coming in at lows, trying to short the market, trying to, everything's crashing, everything's, burning. Well, guess what? The market is forward looking, and the market knows that the Fed is likely not going to keep hiking rates into midterms, which are coming, right? And they've already, they're approaching their target, real rate, right, of that 3.5 area. And so I think you're seeing the market price in the fact that, hey, more than likely we're seeing inflation peak at that 9.1%, same level it peaked at in the 70s, right? We're seeing commodities roll over. We're seeing oil roll over big time, right? Crude looks like absolute dog water. And we're really seeing the kind of signs you look for, right? When you talk about, okay, like, is this going to be a prolonged recessionary environment, or is this, right, just the Fed that needed to correct the market? And we saw a lot of stocks correct 90%, right? Snapchat is still down 85%, right? We're seeing Facebook still down 57% or whatever, right? We're seeing, guys, there's been a mass correction in valuations. PayPal, another one, 75% down, right? Coinbase was down 90%. We saw a lot of valuation reset, which is what the Fed wanted, right? And so remember, guys, trading on macros purely as of late has been a losing game. So you're not going to see me heavily focused on that. It's obviously going to always be a part of my trading, but it's never going to be a primary focus. So again, guys, I am paying attention to the supply zone. We do have CPI coming this week, which is a huge deal. Remember that, the Fed has been using the PCE number more. That's their preferred data indicator, right? However, CPI always going to be a obviously a psychological, and it's going to be a macro catalyst every single time we have it, right? So CPI coming up. We don't have a Fed meeting this month. Remember, they're going to be in Jackson Hole, so we're not going to have our next FOMC until September. So do remember that as well. And also, guys, like I said, we're coming into this big area of supply. If we clear that 417 order flow zone, we do have a good chance to continue that upside move into 425, 430. But again, right now it's a wait and see, and there's a ton of opportunity outside of SPY itself, right? We've seen Coinbase rip, 80% in the last week, while SPY was up, 7%, right? We're seeing just a major opportunities outside of the indices themselves, or not 7%, 7% last couple weeks, right? But point being, I think there's more opportunity in individual names as of right now. Now, to cover the weekend swing, I have been talking about a ton. Carvana, let's get into it. This is the weekly chart. If you are following along, I am on the weekly chart for Carvana. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cover the chart here, and then we're going to talk about the flow, right? So is there a fundamental catalyst backing this heavily? Honestly, no. We're seeing Carvana. It's up 120% off lows. We ripped 40% on Friday, guys, but understand that this stock was trading, right? You need to look left, and we talk about this all the time, but guys, you got to look left, right? Look at where this thing was trading at. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This thing was trading at 400, right? It touched 19, right? Are you shorting, all-time low zone, major area of support, which was old resistance? I mean, look at this weekly volume, guys. It's absolutely insane. Carvana, there are a lot of really, in my opinion, I don't normally swing things that run 39% in a day, but this is kind of a unique case, right? So let's talk about why I took this position, okay? We had major daily volume. This was Carvana's single biggest daily volume print in its history, right? We closed not only the daily candle over major resistance at this 46.2 area, but we also closed the weekly candle over that resistance level at 46.60. And that's a big deal, guys, because we talk about this all the time, but past price action is the best indicator of future performance, right? So we talk about this all the time, but look at the price action and how smoothly, once we broke this 98 level, guys, Carvana, within a 3-week time span, right, made a move from 100, right, all the way to 36, okay? That's a massive move, right, within a 3-week time span. This is a 40% short float, and the way that I'm looking at it is this is very similar to the coin chart. And when you have an event like that where people make life-changing money, people start to look for, well, what's the next one, right? This also has the same psychological setup in terms of price point, right? 46, 47, $50 stock, brand new 100. I would not be surprised to see a parabolic move here that just swipes this entire level, because that's the type of market we're in. That's when you can, maybe play around. Even though this is a smaller size swing, that's when you can take setups like this when the market is supporting it, right? Now, again, great weekly volume here, guys. This is going to be a continue or die type of setup, right? It's at, just clearing major resistance. It could be a fake out breakout, but I did mention, and this is where we're going to switch over to Cheddar Flow. We saw massive, and I do mean massive, weekly flow here into Carvana, guys. Let's go ahead and pull up Cheddar Flow. We are not talking about small, far out expiration flow here. We are talking about massive repeat 6-figure out of the money call flow on Carvana. We saw a $1 million call sweep, right? Which you can see right here, guys. At 2:32 p.m., we saw $1 million swept into the 37. So these were actually in the money. If you're sweeping with $1 million, I would hope you're buying in the money calls. But $1 million in the money call sweep for weekly. So this coming week, 8/12 expiration, $1 million, guys. When you see large 7-figure call flow for a week out, I don't care if it's slightly in the money or not, which this guy chose to go basically, 15% in the money. That is something that I'm going to probably follow, right? And obviously, you guys know I took a position in the 819s. I swung those over the weekend. When you see big out-of-the-money call flow like this, this is a fantastic confirmation indicator, right? You guys know that I go into every trade and I look at 4 or 5 different kind of confirmation points, and seeing 7-figure flow like this, short-term expiration, and the chart confirms it, and that's the kind of market we're in, that's a situation where I'll say, okay, hey, I might swing something that is, up 37% on the day, because that's the type of market we're in. Is it the best risk reward? No. But does that mean it can't work? Absolutely not. All right. So not only did we see that $1 million out of the money call, not only did we see that $1 million in the money call sweep for the weekly expiration coming, but we also saw massive 6-figure order call flow on the 819 expiration, guys. The $70 call swept for $36,000. We saw this 826.38 calls swept for $500K. And then end of the day, guys, we saw those 37 calls. We saw someone tail that $1 million order with a $387 call sweep. We also saw the out-of-the-money $50 calls for the weekly expiration swept for $51K 20 minutes before close, right? And so this is really important to pay attention to, guys, and it's definitely the reason it's my top focus setup. This is what we talk about. When you look for like flow that is directional enough to pay attention to, this is the type of stuff you want to see, right? Weekly, either close to being in the money or out of the money call flow. And you want to see those large 6-figure and 7-figure orders are the ones you really want to pay attention to, guys. That is when flow becomes a fantastic and powerful tool, and definitely something that obviously has my eye on Carvana for the upcoming week. So again, guys, that's the flow. And again, we talked about the chart already. Basically, my target area is this, right? I think if we can get through this, if we can continue to the upside on Monday morning, my plan is going to be simple here. I want to see continuation through 47, which is the level that we closed at on Friday. And I want to see a push towards this 60 level. 60 is going to be my first target with an upside reach target over that. My second target is going to be this 80.09 level. And then third and final target will be this this $98 to $100 psych level. That's going to be a massive area of resistance. I don't know if we're going to see that move in a week or two, but I think it is definitely possible, and it's something that I didn't mind having some exposure to over the weekend. If it fails that level, guys, and we see a move to the downside, it's going to be an exit, and I can reevaluate later. I don't want to hold deep out of the money call flow or deep out of the money calls when we don't see continuation almost off the bat, right? That's going to be a, wait an hour on Monday engage. But if we're not seeing that follow through, this is, basically a squeeze play, right? It's very similar to coin. And if we don't see that continuation, I'm going to be out, right? But the tape looked fantastic on Friday. So definitely my top focus setup for this week. looking at those smaller time frames, right, we want to base the 46 to 45 zone on Monday. Any type of larger time frame, 30-minute candle close under that, I'll probably stop out and be done with the trade, right? But I'm definitely going to at least let this get 30 minutes to an hour on Monday. If we push to the upside, fantastic. 48.5 is really that next resistance, but you can see how this big wick up to that level, you always want to note those larger scale wicks because that's going to illustrate we might see a cleaner move through that level. So again, guys, Carvana, a top focus setup for me. The other one, I took a position in Piton. On Friday in the 1K account, I took a half size or 60% position size here. The reason being, again, this is a continue or exit type of play. Massive weekly candle close over huge resistance at this 1141 level, guys. This is another instance of past price action is probably the best indicator of future moves to the upside. We closed over that key resistance. This is a classic bullish setup, guys. First target for me here is going to be this 1240 to 1309 level. But remember, we're talking about a company that doesn't have fantastic fundamentals. Yes, I think it's a little bit inexpensive down here, but I do want to see pretty much continuation off the bat. Obviously, I'm in the October calls, so this is not nearly as volatile or as risky as being an 8/19 expiration Carvana calls, but I will have a tight stop loss on this trade. This was a A to borderline A plus setup for me, but I did want to take the position because, again, we're in that type of market where Piton was following Carvana, and if you can be early to this type of move, there is massive upside in the market right now. But as soon as we see that tape flip and this type of setup stops working, I'm going to exit the trade if we don't have that continuation upside, right? So it's really a market. Keep stops tight. Don't hold things that don't work, and let setups play out as much as you are willing to with your risk tolerance, right? And even though the market is a little bit crazier right now, I'm trying to keep a tighter risk tolerance. It's been a fantastic few weeks, guys, but again, it's never too early, right, to manage your risk, right? And that is going to be so dependent on your account size and how you trade, but that's my mindset into things, and really small losses have been huge in this market. Limiting losses and maximizing wins, that's a winning formula, guys. Really, no matter what. So, again, Peloton, definitely a big watch for me. I do want it to hold this 1143 level coming into this week, and that's going to be a major focus point for me. My next big watch for this week, guys, is going to be Rivian, RIVN. We have earnings coming up this week, guys, and one of the reasons that this is actually sneaking onto my focus list, we do have those IV kind of, ridden premiums with earnings coming up this week. So not like it's a fantastic daily trader opportunity, but it is one that I'm considering possibly taking a position in for ER on September or October calls, and maybe, some exposure on the shorter expiration. This is the Rivian daily, guys. If Rivian can get a move through 37, it does have an absolutely insane upside potential. The reason I'm mentioning this, again, is because when moves like Coin happen, there brings more liquidity into the market. You're seeing things like HKD run like crazy. The market is setting up for bigger moves soon. And so positioning and understanding where your focus needs to be, Rivian falls into that same kind of class to me as like the companies that actually do have pretty solid or decent fundamentals, like Coin has a ton of cash on hand, Rivian has a ton of cash on hand. They're kind of like those stocks that are probably more likely to be winners in the future, and those are the ones that are bouncing, right? The higher quality companies are squeezing out greedy shorts that came in at, either near all-time lows or whatever, right? Those people are getting punished because that's what happens when you get greedy and when you think the market is just going to go down forever, right? And that's what we saw. It's unfortunate, but and if you've been a victim of that, understand that for next time, that when we saw a record high short interest on the Qs. Do you think that's the best time to be short? I'm just like ask yourself that question. The most crowded trades are always the best ones, right? That's what someone that I respected and a mentor of mine told me. He said the most crowded trade is always the one you want to be in, right? What do you think my answer was? No, the most crowded trades suck, right? Because that means that there's just a ton more people in there that need to get out. It's kind of like playing a biotech run-up, right? And when there's a fuck ton of people that are in it, right, it makes it a lot harder to get out because you're just dealing with, there's more resistance because there's more people that are selling, right? Uh, and it's kind of very similar to, why is the short side easier? Well, the short side used to be easier because it was less crowded, because a lot of people didn't know how to short, or because people weren't shorting the market because we were in a massive bull market, right? There's less people, right? So it's less crowded. That, you hear, Hugh Henney talk about it all the time. The backside of the trade comes 10x faster, right? That is why, right? If you haven't listened to that PGIR podcast, give it a listen. And now you're seeing what happens when people come in, when retail shorts come in at lows and try to short things, it's not good, right? Like, you see what happens. That can really destroy a short position, and quickly. And so when you get, good news on a company with decent fundamentals, it's a squeeze out. So again, guys, Rivian going to be a major watch for me. Let's go over the flow on Rivian quickly, because it is something I wanted to kind of mention during the stream, guys. Guys, I apologize. I had the streaming software formatted for Cheddarflow there. So if you missed the Rivian chart, this is the Rivian daily chart. I was primarily covering, the kind of current environment we're in, but I apologize about that. That's a mistake on my part. So there's the Rivian daily chart that I'm looking at. You guys were probably just focused in on the level 2 and SPY and Piton over here. But again, guys, that's going to be the level that I really want to pay attention to on Piton, is that 37-35 zone on Rivian. And let's go over the flow quickly on Rivian, because again, it is something I do want to mention. I apologize about that formatting. But on Rivian, guys, we, again, massive short-term, out-of-the-money call flow. This is what you want to see if you are long, or if you are bullish and looking to take a position. We saw 100% bullish flow on Friday. We saw, almost every single order that came in was six-figure, either weekly or 916 call flow, right? We saw 214K come into the 34.5 and 34 calls, guys, on Rivian for this upcoming week. Another 133K. This is over, close over $1 million coming into the 8/12 expiration, 34, 35, and 34.5 calls. We saw the 916 $40 calls get swept for 36K. And then we also, again, saw the 916 40 swept down here for 32K, and then a longer time frame $157 call sweep on the Rivian January 23 expiration. So definitely really large call flow coming into Rivian the Friday before earnings. That is something I'm going to want to pay attention to and be watching. When you see, just nonstop sweeps coming in the Friday before earnings, that's always going to be something that's going to have my attention, right? So definitely a primary watch for me this upcoming week. Guys, just kind of continuing on things. Again, we have CPI this week, so I don't want to delve into things too heavily, because there's just, the focus needs to be more narrow on a CPI week, right? Datadog is going to be a heavy watch for me, just because they did have a really nice ER revenue beat. The chart is set up fantastic. Really, the biggest thing, and the reason why I'm mentioning a few of these companies that have earnings, right, is because of the fact that the theme in this market has been growth stock reports earnings, growth stock rips after earnings, as long as they're not declaring bankruptcy. That's kind of been the theme here. We saw Fubo and all these other names up on Friday. This is note themes in this market and take advantage of it, guys, right? So Datadog is a big watch for me. Snow, CRM, a few other names kind of in that sector with really nice breakout charts. If Datadog can clear this 117.95 level, guys, this is going to be a primary call focus setup for me this week. If we can get through that 117 area, I think that really opens us up into the 130 to 132 level. Again, guys, we want to see that daily confirmation over, but this looks like a fantastic setup, guys. Again, on that larger time frame daily chart, you're seeing that increasing daily volume. That's also very crucial, right? The last time we saw that, we pushed into this 117 level, but now we're kind of seeing continued buying come into this name. I think this has a really nice upside potential, and again, we note it all the time, but really all you need, guys, those horizontal lines and looking at past price action, right? But we tend to bounce towards this 130, 140 level off of 117. So if we can get a move over 117, guys, I'm definitely looking to take long calls on Datadog into the upcoming week, right? Now, the kind of last major focus name I do have for this week, we have Roblox and Coin reporting. Coin is going to be definitely a name that I am focused on, right? guys, the premiums here are going to suck for a little while. When you get a squeeze out like we just saw, 100% move in 5 days, right? We were at 52, on coin on the 27th, right? That's where Cathie Wood sold. Maybe you saw my tweet on the 27th, right? So in the last, 6 or 7 daily candles, we've had 100% move at one point, right? 51, more than that, like 115% move up to 116. So what does that mean? Well, what that means, guys, is that we are talking about a stock that has had a massive leg up, right? And so the premiums are not going to be as advantageous for buying and selling, right? Scalping premium or even short-term swinging those premiums on calls, right? Because they are going to be so inflated because the implied volatility is just higher naturally, especially with earnings this week, guys. So am I going to be looking for a daily trader here on coin? Most likely not. But I will note, guys, one area that I am going to be paying attention to, if we were happening to see a retest of this 85 zone, which we did see temporarily, again, retest of that 85 level, no matter earnings or not, that's going to be an area that I would look to buy calls. I'm not going to gamble on this into earnings, but again, guys, I do think, obviously, this is going to be a name that gets traded more now. A lot of people have made a lot of money on it. We were early to it before those premiums were all inflated. So, it might be advantageous, honestly, to sell some calls here into this week if we see a lot of choppy price action with CPI, but definitely a name that I'm definitely going to be watching very closely this week, guys. Again, A+ setup wise, if we break under 83 short side, that becomes a really nice potential move on after earnings. However, if we retest that 85 to 84 level and we can hold there, that's going to be first for me alongside A+ setup. But again, daily confirmation under 83, that would open up the short side back down to 70. But again, I am going to be looking primarily long on this stock off the 83 to 85 zone for a, like a long side position, right? Even with earnings, it would be something I would consider an A+ setup at that level. So definitely a big name that I'm going to be watching this week. And another one I do want to mention, guys, is going to be SQ. Really actually strong price action on this one. Again, just reported earnings. This is a bullish setup for me. I would be looking to take calls off of the 86 level. Definitely a top focus setup for me on a shorter time frame here. This is the 15-minute chart. This is definitely going to be one that I am paying attention to. Because again, guys, on that 15-minute, I really like the SQ setup. That dip to 83 off the open, guys, on Friday got absolutely soaked. So again, definitely something that I am going to be paying very close attention to as we head into tomorrow. If we can hold that 86, 87 level, then that is going to be a high confidence call level for me to take off of, right? So again, guys, I like this 86 to 87 zone for calls on SQ. Again, what has the theme been? Growth stock reports earnings. As long as they're not god awful and we're looking at bankruptcy, the stock rips because they've been down so much, right? And this is a good one that can kind of follow in Coin's path, right? The weekly setup here is beautiful on SQ, guys. It reclaimed a major support level at that 83 zone. And so this is definitely going to be a long side watch for me going into this week. I think this is a beautiful setup that will offer a fantastic long side opportunity. Remember, guys, things may be a little bit choppy with CPI, but I don't know if it's going to be as choppy as past reports, just because of some of those other macroeconomic factors that we're seeing play in. So this is definitely a top watch for me headed into this week on SQ. As long as we hold that 83 level, I just gave that higher confidence call zone for me around that 86 zone. If we break 86, we'll likely retest this big support on the weekly and daily chart at 83.55. One last name I do want to mention, guys, Tesla, coming in for a big retest of this 850 zone. Remember, guys, this is a kind of a barometer for the overall market. We were down here 6%, which is why you saw the market act a little heavy. Once they announced that stock split date, we did see heavier sell volume come in. Felt like someone was kind of in the tape there. If we don't bounce off 850, that would be a bigger concern for me for the overall market. But this looks like a nice high confidence call area on Tesla. If we do hold this 847 to 850 zone, that was a past trigger for a big move up. So right now we touched that 200-day moving average resistance at 937, came back down. So now I'm going to be looking at a big time retest zone. This is going to be a high confidence setup either way, and definitely one of the main names I'm going to be paying attention to early this week. That's the Sunday scan for this week, guys, for 8/8. I think I actually legit said the date wrong. So, yeah, this is August 7th. So, this is the scan for the week of 8/8, guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully, if you're new, you benefited from the scan. And I can't wait to keep taking advantage of these fantastic setups with you guys going into this week. I will see you guys bright and early on the Pre-Market Live at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. See you guys there. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Peace out.